Have you ever heard of the legal system being used not for justice but as a weapon? It's a harsh reality for many, and it has a name: legal abuse syndrome. While it's not an official medical diagnosis you'd find in a textbook, it perfectly describes the intense emotional and psychological damage that happens when someone twists the law to harm another person. This isn't just about losing a case, it's about being systematically broken down by the very system designed to protect you. This type of abuse is particularly common and devastating in family court, especially during high-conflict custody battles. Imagine a situation where one parent isn't just fighting for custody, but is actively using the court process to intimidate, exhaust, and financially ruin the other. This isn't about what's best for the child. It's about power, control, and punishment. So what does legal abuse actually look like? It can take many forms. It might be an endless stream of frivolous lawsuits over trivial matters. It could be the manipulation of court procedures to cause delays and rack up legal fees. Often it involves making shocking and false allegations of abuse or neglect, forcing the targeted parent to constantly defend themselves against baseless claims. Each action is a calculated move designed to inflict maximum emotional, financial, and reputational damage. The goal is to make the other parent give up, not because their case is weak, but because they can no longer withstand the onslaught. For the person on the receiving end, the experience is traumatic. They can develop severe anxiety, deep depression, and even symptoms that look a lot like post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. They live in a constant state of fear, waiting for the next legal threat to land in their mailbox. Their trust in institutions is shattered, and they often feel isolated and misunderstood, as friends and family may not grasp the severity of what they're enduring. Now, let's connect this to another deeply harmful dynamic: parental alienation. Parental alienation is when one parent systematically turns a child against the other parent, poisoning their relationship with lies and manipulation. When you combine legal abuse with parental alienation, you get a particularly toxic mix. The court system itself becomes the primary tool for driving that wedge between the child and the targeted parent. Think about it. The alienating parent might file false reports with Child Protective Services, triggering terrifying investigations. They might repeatedly drag the other parent back to court for fabricated reasons, creating constant chaos and instability. They might blatantly ignore court-ordered parenting time, knowing that enforcing the order requires yet another expensive and stressful court battle. They might even use legal threats to control the child's communication, telling them they can't speak to the other parent because of some made-up legal danger. These tactics are incredibly effective. For the child, it's a world of confusion and emotional distress. They are caught in a loyalty bind, often feeling guilty or anxious. They hear one parent's narrative reinforced by official-looking court documents and constant legal battles, making it seem credible. For the targeted parent, it's a nightmare. They are not only fighting to maintain a relationship with their child, but are also fighting a war on a second front in the courtroom, draining their finances and their spirit. Let's break down the emotional impact on everyone involved. The targeted parent often experiences complete exhaustion, a profound sense of helplessness, and crushing financial strain. They can feel isolated as the legal battle consumes their life. They may even start to doubt themselves, wondering if they are somehow to blame for the chaos. The child suffers immensely. They are forced into a loyalty conflict that no child should ever face. They might feel guilty for loving the targeted parent or anxious about betraying the alienating parent. This constant stress disrupts their emotional development and can lead to long-term psychological problems. They lose the security of having two loving parents and are instead used as a pawn in an adult conflict. And what about the alienating parent? Their behavior is often driven by unresolved anger, personality disorders, or a deep-seated fear of losing control. They may genuinely believe their own distorted narrative, but their actions perpetuate a cycle of harm that ultimately damages the person they claim to be protecting, their own child. So, how can professionals, like judges, lawyers, and therapists, recognize that legal abuse is happening? There are clear patterns to look for. One major red flag is repetitive, unnecessary filings that serve no legitimate legal purpose. Another is a pattern of exaggerated, hysterical reactions to minor issues, blowing them completely out of proportion to create drama and legal conflict. When legal actions are clearly being used for punishment or retaliation, rather than to resolve a genuine dispute, that's a sign. Most importantly, if there is visible and unexplained harm to a child's relationship with one of their parents, it's crucial to investigate whether legal abuse is a contributing factor. The good news is that there are ways to address this problem. Courts can and should use sanctions to penalize parties who file abusive or frivolous motions. This sends a clear message that weaponizing the legal system will not be tolerated. High conflict mediation, with a skilled mediator who understands these dynamics, can sometimes help de-escalate the situation. Appointing a guardian ad litem, or a special advocate for the child, can provide the court with an objective view of the child's best interests, free from the parent's influence. Therapeutic intervention is also critical. Counseling for the child can help them process their confusion and loyalty conflicts in a safe space. Co-parenting counseling can sometimes be effective, but only if both parents are willing to participate in good faith. And importantly, we need to continue educating judges, lawyers, and mental health professionals about the realities of legal abuse and parental alienation so they can intervene effectively. Some jurisdictions are even exploring legal reforms to create faster, more streamlined processes to shut down the misuse of the court system. Let me share an illustrative case to make this more concrete. Imagine a father who, after a divorce, repeatedly files false claims that the mother is unstable and a danger to their child. Each claim triggers a new investigation, forcing the mother to take time off work, hire lawyers, and endure stressful interviews. The child, meanwhile, is constantly being told by the father that their mother is sick and that the court is involved to protect them. Over time, the child becomes withdrawn and anxious around the mother, buying into the father's narrative. The mother is on the verge of giving up. But then, a judge recognizes the pattern. They notice that every single one of the father's claims has been unsubstantiated. They see the mountain of paperwork generated for no reason. The judge imposes sanctions on the father for vexatious litigation and orders him to pay the mother's legal fees. A therapist is appointed for the child, and a parenting coordinator is brought in to manage communication. With the legal abuse stopped and therapeutic support in place, the mother and child slowly begin to heal their relationship. The truth comes out, not in a dramatic courtroom confession, but through the slow, steady process of creating safety and stability. Why does all of this matter so much? Because awareness is the first step toward prevention. When parents can spot the red flags of legal abuse early on, they can seek the right kind of help. When legal and mental health professionals are trained to identify these patterns, they can intervene sooner and more effectively. And most importantly, when we understand how the legal system can be used as a tool of abuse, we can do a better job of protecting the children who are caught in the middle. No child should have their relationship with a loving parent destroyed by legal games. By shining a light on legal abuse syndrome, we can help prevent long-term emotional damage and create a path toward healthier, more peaceful family relationships. If you or someone you know is going through a high-conflict separation and you see these signs, please encourage them to seek support from a mental health professional or a legal expert who specializes in high-conflict family dynamics. You are not alone, and help is available. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. See you in the next one.